Some of the lesser royals don't require...
Which of the working royals would you take it away from?
Well, for instance, I mean, did you get hot under the collar, as you have just done now on Gender and Harry, about Eugenie in 2009 having a security brief involving...
They don't have security now.
...involving two policemen who went with her on her gap year to Cambodia and Thailand.
Just to be clear, I was out with both her and her sister recently for lunch. They have no security.
In 2009, she had two working policemen with her in Cambodia.
2009?
I'm just saying, did you lose it over that? I know, but I'm saying, actually, we have a vast security bill for lesser royals. Do people like Sophie and Anne need security if Harry and Meghan...
Is he all right upstairs?
But they don't have 24/7 security.
No.
Exactly.
They have security when they're on royal engagements.
But they have security, and often their properties have 24/7 security paid for by us.
But I think what you'll find now, this whole debate will perhaps look at what is the cost of protecting the royal family generally.
Yeah.
Fact. And I don't think Harry has got a clue around what the cost is. I mean, I remember when the Queen and Prince Philip attended Enfield. It was a huge operation, not just the plot team, the specific plot team, but on top of that, you would have had every single venue would have to be searched by licensed search officers.
Well, duh.
You'd have to ensure
That's expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of that expense becomes quite significant. And I was talking to Princess Diana's former bodyguard, Ken Wolfe, hugely respected individual.
Yeah.
And Ken was saying it is quite shocking that during this incident in New York, which ironically was days before this ruling has come out.
Well, I don't think it was a coincidence.
But you end up with a situation where they've jumped into... They're worried about security.
Put him in a taxi.
They're put into a taxi.
What the hell?
No idea who the driver is. No, and the driver's gone on and sold his story and whatever you... They then went back and sat in a police station. Now, if you had...
But these are people that worked on Obama's Secret Service detail. A part of this protection team, apparently.
Well, I mean, it seems incredibly amateurish, the way it was done.
I totally agree.
And if you had somebody with the skill level that the British police have, they would have looked at the journey, where the journey was going to go, where the individuals were going to go, what was going to happen. All of those eventualities would have gone. You wouldn't be jumping in the back of a minicab. Fact.
I did find it, and it's interesting how it's played out, isn't it, Sarah? Because when it first broke, that story... Yeah, I was at home. I was like, oh, wow, this looks really serious. What's happened here? This is memories of Diana and everything else. There's been no footage. There's been no pictures. There's been nothing.
What do you mean by that?
This is New York City, Upper East Side at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday or whenever it was, right? It would be rammed with people with cameras. Nothing. There's no evidence that there was anything like a 2-hour high-speed chase through Manhattan. It's not even possible.
So that was a f***ing lie.
The traffic wouldn't allow it. And then they stick them in a cab, which goes round the block and then comes back. And so this goes on, all to protect them from revealing where they were staying.
Well, this is about a standoff between Harry and the media, isn't it? Because Harry did not want the paparazzi to get a photo of him. And
Why? Why?
And he's paying for that security.
But he's literally just been at a massive
That's
event
on his terms, though, isn't it?
for his wife to get a completely spurious award for being the world's most inspiring woman, for reasons that baffle me. But anyway, each to their own.
It's just Harry.
Is that Harry on the phone?
Sorry, it's just Piers once again. I'm looking for his milk of human kindness.
They've been to this sort of, self-aggrandising media event where, of course, it's in the middle of Manhattan. It's in Midtown Manhattan, crawling in paparazzi. Of course it is. Of course they're going to follow them wherever they think they're going to be going.
OK.
Why stay at a private residence you want to keep private? Why not go to the hotel like they normally do?
I mean, it's a battle of wills, isn't it? He doesn't want them to get what they want. If it's not on their terms, he doesn't want them to have that photograph. And if you're paying for the security, and you've said to your security detail, your one job is to make sure they don't get a photograph, it's different
But
to
Chester, here's my problem
Met
with
Police.
this.
Stop it. Get some help.
Here's my problem with this. They just... I don't know what it is. I don't know what is really motivating. Whether it's just a blind hatred of all the media, so... any tiny thing they want to blow out of all proportion so that it looks like they're being hunted or whatever.
Is he all right upstairs?
But everyone I've spoken to about this incident in New York has said it just was not anything like the near catastrophe they were painting.
I can see there is a contradiction between their hunger for celebrity and their desire for privacy.
That doesn't make sense.
But, Piers, I'm asking of you to try and find some sort of empathy. I know you weren't born a prince. I know you're a pauper done good. But the bottom line is that boy had everything, and it is far harder climbing down in life than it is climbing up.
Fact.
and he has bucket loads of anxiety to do with his childhood, to do with the way in which
You know
his
what?
mother's
You know what?
died.
Here's my response.
So it's difficult for them, and they're going to have to keep on performing to pay for the
Here
security.
is my honest response to that. Right?
Okay.
Right? He has brought all of this on himself.
Hasn't Piers,
Right.
because of what he was
He goes
doing.
on like he's the only person to lose a parent, apart from anything else, right? My father died when I was 1, right?
So that was a lie.
William lost his mother at the same time Harry did. He doesn't behave like this. This guy's quit the country, quit royal duty, quit everything, gone to California, lives in a wonderful mansion, and he sells his family down the river for vast amounts of cash every chance he gets.
Disappointment is immeasurable.
I have no sympathy
He's not
at all.
perfect, Piers, but he's naive, and he was to the manor born. And you asked Dal, Harry every day will be working out how he pays for that gigantic security brief to keep his paranoia in check.
That doesn't make sense.
How much does it cost? Be honest. To give someone like Eugenie or Anne or Sophie protection. How much?
Well, the
They
problem
don't get it. We've already established that.
Yeah,
They get it when they're on royal duty.
Yeah, we haven't got the figures, but I mean, I think the difficulty, it is an enormous figure. I think the difficulty is with Harry, I don't think he understands how the world works in terms of how all that intelligence comes in, the briefings that will have to be done. And do you actually want somebody walking down the high street to protect you? Solving your burglaries, solving crime.
Do you know what he wants? I think he just wants to have his royal cake and eat it. It basically boils down to that. He wants to be, like he tried to propose to the Queen, half in, half out. He wants the good stuff, the celebrity status, the money, the trappings, the royal protection. He just want to put the shifts in.
What the hell?
You know, in Cleethorpes on a wet Wednesday, going to an old people's home. And that's not the deal that the public has with the royal family. It's just not. The deal is they do all that stuff hundreds and hundreds of times a year, and in return, they get the trappings and they get the security and everything else.
I mean, his argument would be, well, I was born a prince. I didn't choose the way I was born. I am still a prince. Look at prime ministers. Former prime ministers still get their protection
They
in
do.
life, should they choose it.
Yeah.
Regardless of how long they serve.
They do.
He did serve. That's such a good point, Sarah. She's the winner.
Nobody would ever question the service he gave his country, least of all me.
You got me.
So let's keep his protection when he's here.
I wish that guy was still that guy. That's all I can say. My brother-in-law taught them at Sandhurst, William and Harry, said he was a great little soldier.
But do you know what? If he got his protection, he'd come over
Why don't you
more,
ask-
he'd give you more stuff to
Ask
talk
100
about.
soldiers what they think of Harry at the moment. And what he's been
Well, I
doing.
mean, Harry
What he's been
sort of
doing to the
he went out.
commander-in-chief.
He actually broke the code. He talked about going out there shooting. I mean, he
Boasted
made-
about
Come on,
his-
loads of
his kills.
SIA guys have done that.
Yeah, but
SAS.
he's made himself more vulnerable.
I agree.
He's not particularly bright. I think
No, he's
when
not.
you go out there, you think all the people that would perhaps want to do him harm. He wanted to add to that and says, "Look, I've killed a lot."
Absolutely right.
Come on now, dog.
It was just kind of
I think there's too much wacky-backy in California, unfortunately. But that's just an allegation.
Okay.
Unsubstantiated, apart from regular confessions in his book. Thank you to my star panel. Much appreciated. Uncensored next. A Christian teacher is banned from the profession for using the wrong pronouns to a transgender pupil. It's the first case of its kind in the UK, and he joins me live after the break.
I don't want to hear about this. I want to stop the
What do
conversation.
you want him to say and do?
I want him to open up the conversation.
say what?
Which is what he is
And
doing.
say what?
So he needs to open that conversation not only in this
So you
country...
keep saying, and
not
say
only
what?
in
Sorry.
this country, but also in the countries that have been impacted by colonialism
Sorry,
in their
I am
history.
asking...
And
I'm sounding a bit
now.
robotic. Let's just start again.
Because-
What would you like him to say and do?
You better answer the fucking question.
I would like...
What's this
him-
conversation you
I
want?
would like him actually, first of all, to listen.
To what?
Listen to what is being said.
What don't you
by
think
the
he knows about the
countries.
history of his country?
I don't know.
Is that not what he did when
don't-
So you want a
I don't-
conversation, but you've no
I
idea what it's
I
going to be
don't-
about?
I don't know what he knows. Isn't that the point?
But the whole point is he can't say what you really want him to say, which is sorry.
Are you serious?
Because he's a head of state and he's a representative, and unless the government gifts him that power to say sorry, he actually can't say it.
Hence we
because
have
we're a
profound
constitutional
regret.
monarchy.
Would stay
yes.
But it's all just measly, pointless words.
No.
To who?
You
To
make your money with measly, pointless words.
How is he going to... Sorry, explain
Oh,
to me. How is this
you?
going to change the lives of a single person today? The king of his country is saying that hundreds of years ago, something we knew existed, an evil called slavery, was...
Nice.
It's terrible. And by the way, not just here, all around the world. And there were black slave owners too, right? I don't see anyone demanding apologies from their ancestors, right? And everyone knows it's evil. Everyone knows it was terrible. Everyone knows the British Empire was...
Stop it.
Europeans
also great in many ways too.
suffered during the slave
Here's
industry.
my point.
We know that as well.
How does it help anybody today to have people grovelling and apologising and saying, "Here's some money"?
Who's asking?
What's he going to do with the people today?
Are you serious?
I don't think there are any dignitaries asking for grovelling apologies. I don't think there are any people who are still...
You don't seem to know what you want.
...who are still impacted today by the effects of colonialism, asking for grovelling...
What do you want Charles to do?
You better answer the fucking question.
grovelling apologies.
I keep asking you, I haven't got an
and
answer.
you talk about history of 100 years, but you know that reparations
Paula, you want King Charles to do and say something, but you've no idea what it is.
I want him to have a cup of tea with Prince Harry.
You want
Are you serious?
conversation with him.
What do you want?
What do you want? A cup of tea, a sandwich? What do you want?
A cup of tea with Prince Harry.
You
That's what I
literally can't
wanted.
answer me.
You can have a truth and reconciliation. You could have a truth and
Fine, I'm
reconciliation.
going to ask you one more time. I'll give you one more chance.
Do you know what a truth and reconciliation is?
I do.
Piers?
What do you want?
Surprise, motherfucker.
Then let's hold a truth and reconciliation.
What do you want him to say?
Let's hold a truth and reconciliation. Let's start the process of listening. And from that listening process, then we will hear what he has to say.
Yeah, boy.
Could maybe apply to his own family as well.
He could put some money out. He could sell a couple of
You've
pages.
literally, Paula, with great respect, you've literally just spent 10 minutes saying absolutely nothing.
I mean, I haven't. It's because
and then you suddenly remember truth and reconciliation. Thought, that gets me off the rap. I've got to say what I actually want all him to do.
2015, we finished paying slave owners. We finished compensating slave owners in 2015. Not hundreds of years ago. I'm uncomfortable about that. Let's have this truth and reconciliation. Let's talk about reparation.
Okay, let's go to Kinsey for the final word, because
colonialism.
America's ahead of us on this, of course. So places like San Francisco, they want to give millions and millions of dollars to everybody who ever had an ancestor who was involved in slavery, which seems to me completely ridiculous. What's your view?
I was just sitting here thinking, why?
Wait for it.
Why is the advice? Let's just look forward. Let's move forward when it's Harry and Meghan, and we're talking about their past discretions. But when it's something like this,
bingo.
I understand.
Bingo.
I understand what
yes.
Pierce is saying. But
all look forward for Meghan and Harry, leave all the nasty stuff behind us, but with the rest of them, back we go, as long as it takes to have a stick to beat them
But
with.
it's not comparing like with like, because one are an institution of state and they represent Britain and our history for better or for worse, and the other are a pair who tripped off into the sunset with a couple of tiaras and some titles.
Why?
Not like
I have always.
Why would King Charles saying,
advocated.
"I'm really sorry and here's some money," make any difference to people today? They had nothing to do with the slavery years because they're not 300 years old.
I've always advocated for reconciliation.
Are you serious?
For Harry, for King Charles, and for William. Always advocated that in the same way that I advocate the reconciliation.
You want to have a conversation, but you
Commonwealth.
have no idea what it's going to be about. Other than it's going to make you
Let's
feel.
open the floor.
It's apparently
Let's
going to make
open the floor.
It's going to. And I want a reconciliation conversation with the Vikings and with the Romans. Right? I want Nordic
Did you
leaders
finish paying
grovelling and apologising.
compensation?
I want
Did you finish
Italian
paying
prime ministers
compensation to them in
recompensing
2015
me for
Here it comes.
the land my ancestors
Piers.
lost in the north of England
Did you
from the
finish-
rampaging Romans.
Did you finish paying compensation to them in 2015? for
Did
the
I?
loss? Yes.
What have I got to do with it?
I did. I was a
Paula, I know you think
taxpayer.
otherwise.
Nice.
I had nothing
You were
to
a
do with
taxpayer.
slavery.
We were all taxpayers, and we paid.
I had nothing to do with slavery, Paula.
But yet you paid compensation to the
And by the
slave
way,
owners.
nor did you.
But I paid compensation to the slave owners.
Okay, I'm going to end this with
I
one.
didn't have a choice in
I want
that
to end on a happy note. I've worked out why Charles is so red. Can we look at the picture again? He's an Arsenal fan, right? And obviously, if we win on Sunday and Manchester City lose, we become Premier League champions, first time in 20 years. It is a nod to Arsenal Football Club. God bless you, Your Majesty. Thank you. I've got to leave it there.
And
Thank
we
you,
do wish
Kinsey,
him well. We
in LA.
definitely
Thank
wish
you,
him
Sarah.
well.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Tessa.